There are a bunch of things in Stellaris that make you worry. The contingency, unbidden, Praetorian, maybe even awakened empires, or the Khan. However, there is one thing that makes me worry more than anything else, and that is the butt-puckering experience that is, well, let's put it this way. The butt puckers so much in the following that if you shove a piece of coal up there, that a diamond will be shot out. Today, we're going to be talking about the type of planet that will fall before the guard does. Today, we're going to be talking about fortress worlds. So you may be wondering, ASpec, what is a fortress world? Come on, we've seen fortresses on planets before. They're pretty great, but just a fortress world? What do you mean by this? Well, I've set up this little template empire over here. It's sitting nicely in a corner. It's about 120 years into the game, and as you can see, it's relatively small. There's a reason for this. This is a relatively tall style empire, relatively compact. However, as you can see, there are two main entrances into its space. There is this system around here, Rochelle, and of course, this surprisingly named system, Stellaris Cadia. Let's take a look at what we got inside here. Well, there is the planet Cadia, which is not named for any reason whatsoever. And let's take a look at it, what we have on here. As you can see, it has quite a lot of fortresses on it. It also has a planetary shield generator, which makes the planet even more interesting. It also cranks out a significant amount of unity, which makes it even better. However, what makes this fortress world so special? Let's take a look at the armies, shall we? Well, it would appear that we have over 4,000 armies on this particular planet. That, in combination with the FTL jammer that is sitting on top of this rock, in combination with the planetary shield generator, which reduces damage from orbital bombardment by 75%, effectively, what we got here is a nigh impenetrable rock on a choke point into our space. Now, what does this mean? It means that whoever is going to try to attack this rock is going to be at it for quite some time, and they will literally need to crack the planet to make things go along a little bit more swiftly than usual. Let's jump into a scenario and see how long it would take for an alien empire to take this particular rock and what we can do whilst they are trying to bomb it. So we have so nicely declared war on our neighbors, and however we've kind of gotten into a scenario where our fleet most likely cannot compete with theirs, not without significant losses anyway, and they have a secondary fleet coming in from their ally right behind it. Now, one thing that is important to know is they have brought a bunch of transport ships. Now, as you can see, this used to be all my space. Important to note here is that there are no stations here. And also, Cadia does not have a station in it. And here they come. Let's see what they can do. Well, they will first try to take the station, and it's important not to have a station in the system that is upgraded. Why? Because it will give the enemy a place to rearm their stuff. And if you want to retake the system as well whilst they are so happily bombing the fortress world, yeah, you will have to deal with yet another target. So let's take a look here at how this is going for their little assault ship. They got 3.5k. They are doing heavy orbital bombardment, and let's take a look at how the armies are doing. Well, the planetary damage is ticking up, sure. The garrison strength is not really dying or anything, so that seems to be quite good. Let's take a look here. Yeah, they are going to be stuck here for quite some time, and that basically means that in the meantime, if we, for instance, had jump drive, we could just pop over and say hello to people over here. Now, what does this do for us? Most importantly, it gives us the importance of knowledge. They're going to be stuck here for quite some time. We know what kind of fleet they have, we know what kind of setup they have, so they are mostly shields and armor. Fair enough. So what we can do is we can do a solid mixture of ships to counter that. And considering they're going to be stuck here for years unless they bring a Colossus, we can very easily just go into our fleet manager, take a look at our capital fleet. Let's remove all the cruisers because we don't need them anymore. How many cruisers do they have? 3 of them. Let's add a bunch of battleships here. It's 13,000 minerals. Good. So that is all just fine. Let's reinforce the fleet. And now we wait. Whilst we're waiting for some other stuff, we'll just get capacity overload and production targets on its way as well. Whilst all of our fleet yards are merrily building their ships whilst they are trying to break through the lines. Cadia stands for the moment with about, well, 3,500 troops that are just simply not dying. This is a very good thing. Now, on top of that, there is a little bit of an exploity thing here that you can do. Let's take a look here. We know that there is a leader on this army over here, and they are attacking the planet. So you would think, hey, adding a new leader to this army would be impossible because it's under attack. Normally that would be the case if you were assaulting. Let's go and take a look at the army details here. As you can see, the army is a regular defense army of the post-Roman Imperium. Let's assign a new leader to it, shall we? Oh, look. We can add another leader to this, just to boost morale a little bit. Oh my, the leader has just magically appeared on the planet, and there is nothing they can do about it. Whilst this is happening, of course, there's a reduction in output, but still 32 unity is pretty damn good. And with an upkeep cost of about half a Colossus, keeping a enemy fleet stuck for years, if not decades, whilst you bolster your fleet, is definitely something that is to wink at. Now, they have not brought nearly enough troops to crack this one open. 6 transport ships, that translates to 120 drop troops. It's not going to really be very helpful. On the other side of our space, we have another one of these planets, which is significantly larger. Actually, it's not significantly larger. Yes, that's, well, we can ignore this one for now. Yeah, and we got all of these guys. Now we can, maybe if we go down the biological engineering route, we can even improve the defensive measures of all of these troops. Basically, we can make a impenetrable fortress that we can sit behind, wait to muster our troops, wait for the Horn of Rohan to be called, or the Horn of Gondor in this particular case, wait for our allies to show up and crush them in detail. Now, we've got our fleet on standby. We got a bunch of battleships here. Let's move them out because this is a really interesting scenario to have. Now, we've been proactively building our entire fleet up. We can now move in. We should probably keep our drop squads over here in the Sirius system, and then super casually mosey over whilst these guys are so happily trying to bomb the planet. Oh my, they've managed to get some bombarded ground in there. But still, 3,500 troops, 6 years into the war, and also about a year and a half into orbital bombardment is not going too well for them. But yeah, we've managed to upgrade our fleet with all of our fleet yards from this tiny empire that we have over here. Let's dive in, let's clear these troops, and let's show these robots what we are made of. There we go, and good. The relief forces are here. Let's immediately fix this and build a new setup, and let's dive straight into it. Now, another good thing in this combination is that considering the system will not flip to the enemy side until they have taken the planet, we can also do the following. We can go to War Doctrine, Defense in Depth, and that means our fire rate in our home territory will increase by 10%. Right now we're doing rapid deployment, which is plus 10 weapon range, but considering the inbound here, that doesn't really matter all that much. So what we can do now is we fly out, we destroy the enemy fleet, and what we can do now is basically support things. What is important to note here as well is that the longer an enemy fleet is stuck bombing a planet, the higher their war exhaustion will start to kick up. Basically, their attrition modifier will start to kick in, and there's nothing they can really do about it. Absolutely nothing. And that is great for us because it means that we can just literally mosey along, try to take more stations back in this Total War CB that we have, and continue the kill of the enemy. Now, they're bringing in a larger fleet right now. It's about 5k, but considering we have killed the enemy fleet in detail, there's literally nothing they can do, which means that we have, superior firepower. In addition, the enemy is about to make a horrible mistake, sending their fleet into what looks like a black hole system, and that will be the end of that. But yeah, Fortress worlds, they are incredibly powerful. They give you something that is so needed in the game, and that is time in war. Space can be really big. Your rapid deployment fleets can take forever to get to their destination. Keeping an enemy stuck at a choke point is pivotal to your survival. And victory is life. And in the end, Cadia stands, and the planet will not fall. And definitely not before the guard does. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a video about Fortress Worlds. Let's quickly recap. Fortress Worlds, just build them up on a choke node. Make sure they have a delightful amount of fortresses on them. Make sure they've got a planetary shield generator. And, of course, get the FTL inhibitor technology. On top of that, it will crank out a ridiculous amount of unity, which you can use to rush through this Rishon tree like nobody's business. And that is that. Fortress Worlds. Underappreciated. You should build them. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take good care of yourselves and, as always, each other.